Hello everyone, I myself Mohan Kumarian, Assistant Professor, Computer Science Department, Srimati Shri YR GFGC, Pavagada. My today's topic is arrays in PHP. It's a continuation class. In this session, we are going to learn about how to access and update array elements. Session outcome. At the end of this session, you would be able to access the array elements and update. Accessing or identifying elements of an array. We can access a specific value from an existing array using the array variable's name followed by the element's key or index within a square brackets. So to access any element within an array, we need to have the name of that array followed by its index or a key value. The key can be either a string or an integer. String values that are equivalent to integer numbers when without leading zeros are treated as integers. Thus, array of dimension 3 and array of dimension string 3. String 3 references the same element, but arrays with leading 0, arrays with a string index with leading 0 references to a different element. So here, to specify the indexes, the string indexes, it is our conventions that we need to specify them in a single or double quotes, but it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory in case of a single word strings. In a single word strings, you can even specify the indexes without having a single or double quotes. Accessing and updating array elements. So here is an example to access and update your array elements. In the first part, here I am going to create an array called students. So here I am creating this student array by using adding an element. So in this array we have got 4 elements. Now I want to access the third element, that is your Julie. The third element whose value is Julie. Now I want to access this element in our student array, and I need to update with some other value. To do so, I can access this particular element by using its array name followed by open and close square brackets. Within that, the index of that array. The index of that array element is 2. So in this way, we can access that particular array element. Now by using this assignment operator, we can update that value with any other value. So in this way we can access and update. Now the value Julie will be overwritten by Peter, or this Peter value will be updated in at the index position 2 in our array students. In this way we can access and update the array values. Accessing multi-dimensional array elements. Elements can be accessed using dimensions. In multi-dimensional arrays, we can access the elements by using dimensions. So for example, in 2-dimensional arrays, there we need to have the array name followed by dimensions. Here in case of 2 dimensions, there will be 2 dimensions, that is first dimension and a second dimension. To access these values, you can make the use of square brackets. As you go deep inside more levels of arrays, the use of the set of square brackets will increases with each level. For to access an element from 2-dimensional arrays, there we have 2 dimensions, that is first dimension and second dimension. In case of 3-dimensional array, there we may have 3 dimension, that is dimension 1, dimension 2 and dimension 3. In that way we can access elements from any multi-dimensional arrays. Accessing two-dimensional array elements. So here is the image of two-dimensional array. The x is the name of an array. Here the name of the array is an x, and the first index represents rows. The first index represents rows. That is the first index is 0, then is the first row, and the first index value is 1, then it represents second row, and the index value is 2, the first index value is 2, then it represents third row. Similarly, the second index represents columns. The second index value represents columns. Example, where your array name, that is x, followed by open and close square brackets. Within that I have specified dimension 2, and within next followed by another open and close parenthesis followed by 1. Here I have used the 2 dimensions. So here by using this I can represent a element in third column and third row and a second column, that is this value. So that is what your third row and a second column. So in this way we can access the elements. So here in this example, this value represents the element at row 2, that is at row 2 and column 1, that is your column 1. Accessing and updating two-dimensional array elements. As you know, to access a two-dimensional array, the syntax is the array name followed by 2 dimensions, that is first index, that is second index, or dimension 1 or dimension 2, where dimension 1 represents your rows and dimension 2 represents your columns. Updating two-dimensional array, the syntax is array name followed by dimension 1 or dimension 2, that is your first index or second index, and for that we are going to assign some new value. In this way we can assign or we can update the values of your two-dimensional arrays. Here is an example. So in this example we are going to update the value of this particular dimension with 25. Here is an example program to create, access and update multi-dimensional arrays. In the first part, here I am creating a multi-dimensional array. So this color is an array variable. For this I am creating a multi-dimensional array by using array construct. Within an array construct there will be 2 subarrays with some values. Now by using this dimensions I am trying to access the values. Now I want to access this particular value, that is green. So that is comes under row 1 and column 2, row 1 and column 2. So thus can be accessed by using this name of an array, that is color, followed by index 1 and index 2. Index 1 represents your row and index 2 represents the column. So first row, that is your red, green, blue, and first column is second column, that is your green and orange. So here I am accessing this green value, and the same time I am updating that value with the white. So like this we can access and update the values of two-dimensional arrays. Accessing and updating three-dimensional array elements. So to access a three-dimensional array, the syntax is array name followed by, within square brackets there will be 3 dimensions, that is first index, second index, third index. So updating 3D arrays, I mean your three-dimensional arrays, the syntax is your array name followed by the first dimension, second dimension, third dimension. Now I am assigning a new value to the element which is represented by your first index, second index and third index. For example, now I want to replace the value with this 25. So in this case I can use the array variable x followed by 3 dimensions that will be assigned with a value 25, where x is a 3D array, I mean 3-dimensional array, and the first index represents a sub array. This is represents a sub array. The second index represents sub array. And third index represents the element in the sub array. In this way we can access and update 3-dimensional array elements. Well, it is a simple example program for creation, accessing and updating 3-dimensional array elements. So as the first part, here I am going to create 3-dimensional arrays. Here my array is an array variable for which I am going to create 3-dimensional array by using array constructor. So within this array there will be a sub array. Within a sub array there will be a sub array. In your sub array there will be some elements. So in this way I have created 3-dimensional arrays. Now I will explain you how to access the values of this particular 3-dimensional arrays. To access any particular element in this your 3-dimensional array, there we need to use 3 dimensions. That is for your sub array, sub array. I mean the first dimension is for your sub array, second dimension is for your sub array, third dimension is for element in that sub array. Now in order to access this particular value, that value 2 is there in your sub array, and sub array, in sub array it occupies the second column. It occupies in the second column. So in to access this we need to specify the indices as our indices as like this, as a variable name, that is your array variable name, followed by 3 dimensions. The first dimension specifies your sub array, second dimension specifies your sub array, and third dimension specifies the particular element. So by assigning 10 to this particular array element, this will replaces the value 2. So 10 will be replaced the value 2. Similarly, we can access value 4. So this will be there in your second sub array, second sub array, second sub array. Within the second sub array, there I am going to update the second element. So by executing this particular statement, I am going to replace the value 4 with 30. Similarly, I can replace the value 6 with the 30. So in this way we can access and update the elements in 3-dimensional arrays. Looping through arrays. One of the most common thing to do with an array is to consider each element in the array individually and process it in some way. The easiest way to iterate through each element of an array is with for each construct. The for each construct or for each loop is a variation of for loop and allows you to iterate over each element in the array. So here we can access the elements of an array using loops also. So here we can access the elements by using for loop and even by using a for each loop. For each construct. For each construct provides an easy way to iterate over arrays. For each works only on arrays. So this is especially used for your arrays. It is used to iterate over array element. So here it has got 2 different variations of your for each loop. In first variation, so it is for this first variation, for every loop iteration, the array value. So here array expression which represents the array. For each iteration, the array value, the current array value will be assigned to a variable value. This current array value will be assigned to this variable value, and the array point will be incremented or moved on by 1, and it will repeats till all the elements of array. So in this way your first version of for each loop works. In the second version, the second variation, here what will happen, here for every loop iteration, The index in case of your numerical arrays or keys in case of your associative arrays will be assigned to the key value, assigned to the key variable, and the array value, the current array value will be assigned to value variable, and the current array pointer will be incremented by 1. So in this way it will iterate, it will take number of iterations based on the number of elements in your array. So in this way also we can access the array elements by using loopings, that is for loop and for each loop. Traversing an array using a for loop. So here is an example which describes how we can traverse over elements of an array by using a for loop. So the first part, here I have created one array by name students. It has got 4 elements. Now in a simple for loop, here I am using a simple for loop. Within parentheses, there I have mentioned 3 parameters. The first one is for your initialization. Here I am going to initialize the counter. In the next, this is the condition. Here I am checking for the condition where I am using some function, that is count function. This count function returns the number of elements in this particular array. It obviously it returns the 4. So because it has got 4 elements, it will return 4. Now I am checking here the counter value, whether this is less than that, less than 4. And again, as a third parameter, I am incrementing the counter. So within the body of the for loop, here I am accessing every individual element of that array by using the counter. So in this way, in the first iteration, the counter will have a value 0. In the second iteration, the counter value is 1, and third iteration, the counter value will be 2. So in this way, I can access the individual array elements, and even I can update those values also. So this is the one way where we can use the for loops to traverse on array, and even to access and update the array elements by using a for loop. Well, it is a simple example for traversing on arrays using a for each construct. In the first part, here I have created a array called students with 4 elements. So here I am using a for each loop. This for each loop allows you to iterate over elements in the array. So here it has got 4 elements, hence here it may have 4 iterations. For every loop iteration, the value of the current value of this particular array will be assigned to the variable, that is the std_name. So within a body of a loop, this variable can be accessible, and we can process, or we can even update. So in this scenario, in a first iteration, the value David will be assigned to this variable, that is std name. So this value can be accessed, and we can update. In the second iteration, the second iteration Kevin, the Kevin value will be assigned to std name. So in each iteration, the current array pointer will be incremented, and current array element will be assigned to the variable std name. So within a body of the loop, where we can make use of this variable to access and update the array elements. So in this way also we can traverse over the array elements, and when we can update the array elements using for each loop. It's a time to summarize what all the things we have learnt in this session. In this session, we learned how to access array elements and how to update array elements, and we learned how to iterate over arrays using loops.